Special good morning to our listeners, special good morning to our viewers of course, Classic Radio, GBN TV, those of you viewing via social media platforms, good morning and welcome. It's to the point. It's Friday, the 12th day of June within the year 2026. Good morning once again. And let me say good morning to my guests. Of course, seems to be coming regular on the program. David, good morning to you, sir.
Morning, my dear brother. Pleasure.
Yeah, I'll say it's welcome back. Of course, we have Sir Archie. There's this one, Mr. Bain. He likes to be called Archie, so I'll go with Archie. So, gentlemen, how's everything?
Well, can't complain. Doing the work, developing the movement, doing the other things we do, going to the communities. Things are moving along quite well.
And kind with the people.
All right. So you're getting that movement.
Yes.
If you could say that way.
Absolutely.
You're getting that movement.
Things are moving.
All right. I want to start this morning's conversation. Of course, I'm going to be varying the conversation this morning. Probably going a different path. Was it my last, of course, guest within the studio was from the Parliamentary Elections Office. Mm-hmm. And I had various callers calling in and asking various questions. I wanted to get your view on it, sir. Not only on the political side, but you being a parliamentarian, you being a lawyer yourself, so I want to get your view on this. Does the DPM have any, of course, anything against Grenadians, per se, in the diaspora? And what is your party's relationship with Grenadians living abroad? I want to get that perspective before we go to the meat of the conversation this morning.
No, it's a question that I have answered by my life, by what I have done. I think the answer is clear to everyone, including persons in the diaspora. I'll let you know that in 2008, when I became foreign minister, I am the one who established the diaspora office. I was also Minister of Diaspora Affairs. In fact, I pioneered that, and I pioneered it because I understood the importance of the diaspora. I have lived in the diaspora, and in fact, in all the major Grenadian diaspora. I've lived 5 years in Canada, 5 years in London, England, and 10 years in the United States, in New York in particular. So I, more than anybody else, know the fact that the further you go away from Grenada, Grenadians become more patriotic. So the diaspora for me is critical to the extent, I'll tell you, my dear brother, that I have proposed, and I've proposed it publicly in New York, in all my meetings, that we establish a senatorial position that deals with the diaspora. If you look at countries like India, countries like the European countries, yes. In fact, the big issue these days with Israel, that they are using their diaspora to influence U.S. policy.
All right.
We have in New York, for example, a lot of the candidates who run for political office depend on Caribbean voters. So the diaspora is important in many respects. So that can affect U.S. policy toward Grenada. In addition to that, I am one who have always said that the diaspora is important not because they send us stuff, but because they have capacity. For example, the diaspora, I know Dr. Purcell, who died recently, a brilliant surgeon who's done a tremendous amount of work for Grenadians who live in New York. He also came to Grenada from time to time and gave that service. We have proposed, and I had proposed in the past, that we establish a diaspora bond where we get people. I think that was done by my dear brother Jerry Edwin, spoke about it, other comrades spoke about it. So the diaspora is not important, in my view, to send stuff to Grenada just when a hurricane comes. No, the diaspora has a level of capacity that if we can tap into that, if we can harness that capacity, Grenada could be well developed. India taps into their diaspora in a big way, and other countries. So no, the question to me is not what is our view on the diaspora, is how do we tap the tremendous amount of resources that exist outside of Grenada. In fact, more Grenadians live outside than live inside, because remember, the sons and daughters of Grenadians outside are also Grenadians. So absolutely, we play, and I have played over the years, a critical role. We've established a relationship with the United Nations to help us. We did a diaspora conference in the past. I remember in about 2010, 11, around there. We did a major diaspora conference in Grenada. All the documents are there. We got the UN to come in and help us develop a program. We had an Office of Diaspora Affairs just on Church Street in St. George, not Church Street, H.A. Blaze Street in St. So we have the movement. Not only supports and believes the diaspora is important, we have articulated ideas and programs that would harness the tremendous amount of resources and talent that exists in the diaspora.
In fact, when COVID came around in 2020, we were about to set up a diaspora office in the building of the National Museum.
Absolutely right. You were part of that. I remember that. Yeah, you were part.
Great.
So no, the answer is history, and our experience answers the question.
So technically, the DPM has no problem with folks in the diaspora.
Not at all. In fact, we
I like how you broke the ice on that. So it's a way of getting it. No, so tell me, there are probably individuals who are listening to us this morning, and can you explain to me what the representation of the people's access when we talk about, who's actually who's legally qualified to vote in Grenada in general elections? Because that's seemingly becoming a conversation we've been hearing a lot these days. What does the ordinary resident means under the law?
Well, it's quite clear. It means ordinarily resident means you're living there.
Yeah.
And it doesn't give you a criteria what is living, but ordinarily living means you reside there, you sleep there, you have your bills paid there, you pay the light, you pay the electricity, and you have to show evidence of having lived and that you are ordinarily resident. For example, last election, the opposition in St. George, in my constituency, challenged several people who have residences in town, but they also have residences outside of the city. Some of my family members even, and they were taken off the list because the parliamentary office said they were not ordinarily resident, meaning their primary residence was out of St. George's. I didn't complain because that was a determination made by the supervisor of elections that the persons were not ordinary residents. I knew the tactic because the tactic was to remove people who supported me, because it was only people who supported me that they removed. But there are a whole heap of people. The problem is that people move a lot in Grenada. They move. You're renting this week in town, so this election you're going to be registered in town by next year. You're renting and you move to such. And people sometimes keep their registration. They don't want. So ordinarily resident means that is where you eat, sleep, you pay your bills. It's simple. So somebody who lives in Grand Anse, they cannot go register in another constituency unless they prove that they're resident there.
Okay.
So somebody coming in from outside will have to show that they're residing here now. So you have to show that you now coming back home, you're coming to live home, and that you have
you're not just returning just to vote for voting purposes.
Yes.
Oh, you mean just return to Grenada to vote and register? No. I think the Parliamentary Elections Office, I'd be surprised if they would register somebody who just came in.
Well, this is actually going to lead to my next question, because we have heard reports that the National Democratic Congress, supporters that in the diaspora, but particularly, those in the United States, Canada, the UK and so forth, are being actively encouraged to travel back to Grenada, specifically to vote in the upcoming general election. From a legal standpoint, what's a concern does that raise for you?
Well, looking at the law, and the Parliamentary Office is responsible for enforcing the law that the Parliament has passed. They will have to establish they should establish, and the law mandates that they establish, that this person is going to be a resident where they are. So if somebody is living in Pakistan and comes to Grenada for a week and staying at Koyaba Hotel, despite the fact that they're Commonwealth citizens, they can't register for two reasons in their case, because they're not Grenadian, they're Commonwealth citizens, but also that they're ordinarily not resident here, because they would have to show evidence, and like I said, the evidence could be a water bill, a light bill, and things like that. And it is a violation of the law, in my view, to do that. I mean, listen, over the years, sure, the Caribbean people have been coming back. It's the nature of our politics in the region. I'm not suggesting that it's a new thing.
Some register early and then
they register early, they come back, they come in the election. It should not be the practice of a political party to publicly advocate for people to come in just to register and go back out to vote.
And my question is, if a party is going to advocate that, does it say that the party doesn't have confidence in the support it has at home?
That's an interesting one.
That's a question.
Because it also leads to a question, because it doesn't make a difference between a Grenadian who lives abroad and still maintain a genuine home here in Grenada. You understand? It's like an address here in Grenada and so forth.
What do you mean a genuine home?
Well, let's say, when they say genuine home,
a building that you lock up and
you lock up when you
that
go
would not be ordinarily resident.
You know? But still maintain an address in Grenada.
How would that person be affected if a government is elected and the laws and the policies are adverse and affect the people of the country? That person backs and leave us to the government.
No, so
that's one of the
I mean, I think one of the concern is this for me.
Two individuals differently.
Me personally, the concern would be this, that we are in a process of creating another division between Grenadians here and Grenadians abroad. So I think this again is leading down a path that I am always troubled about. Continued divisions of our people. We have existed for all these 52 years in independence without any political party saying that their main support base has to be outside. Listen, people come from outside and they come and vote. That is par for the course. That happens. But when you particularly want to say, listen, I want people from outside to come in to and you are advocating it and publishing it and all of that, then it leads to a division between our peoples, and I don't want to go down there. I just would advise everybody, all political parties, all individuals, to just abide by the law. You know, I don't want to go into the politics of it. Just look at the law, and the parliamentary office look at the law, and do what you did to me last election. If you feel somebody is not ordinarily resident, they move a substantial amount of people from, I'm not sure it's substantial, but quite a few people from my constituency and move them to other constituency to try to get me out, just because they're saying they were not ordinarily resident. Although their mother lived in my constituency, they spent a whole heap of time by my mother. They were saying no, but their primary residence was somewhere else. So all I'm saying to people, I don't want to get into this fight between Grenadians in Grenada and Grenadians in the diaspora. Grenadians in the diaspora are as important to us as Grenadians in Grenada. Let us just stick with the law. We want fair elections. We want Grenadians in Grenada to have a government that they voted for. Let us keep within those laws. That is all we say.
And encourage Grenadians to get registered and come over.
Encourage our Grenadians to get registered and take it from there. I mean, but I don't want to be part of any fight. Listen, I lived in the diaspora and I know what it is in the diaspora to want to participate in Grenadian.
But it's not really a fight between them, but it's just getting a clear understanding.
You see, but it can lead to that, because it can lead to now one political party saying, boy, I want to get Grenadians in the diaspora, to come down. Of course, parties do it all the time. They've done it over the years. I'll be hypocritical if I were to sit here and say that I have not seen within parties that I've been a member, people come in to vote.
All right. So, but as a DPM also,
actively and publicly ask people to come to register. Those are people who are already registered. There are two different sets of people. Okay. There are people who are already registered.
Yes.
And they come and they vote and they go back.
So that would not be a problem to
Well, that's a different rule on that. But to get people to come, register, and leave, and so on, is a violation of the law. The law says if you're already registered, you have to be out of the country for 5 years.
Yes.
So you have to look into all of that. Right. But to come and register, you must, or to come from Grenville to register. And but listen, like I said, I don't want us to break out into a big fight about another issue where we pitting Grenadians against Grenadians. All I'll say, of the process to the Parliamentary Elections Office, let us stick with the law. Let us do what we always did. which is stick with the law and ensure that we have free and fair elections, and we elect a government that Grenadians believe will help them develop their country.
What would you say to Grenadians, you'll say directly to Grenadians living abroad who generally want to, participate in these elections coming up? What is the right way and the legal way for them to engage, and even in their, if they can't vote?
If they are registered, they can vote, because the only criteria for voting is to be on the list.
Yeah.
So if they're on the list, they can come, they can vote. There's no issue there. Other than that, they influence their families. They can participate like everybody else. Just stick with the law.
And they have been participating.
In
fact, they have been louder than most.
I enjoy being in the diaspora. I mean, like I told you, I lived in London, New York, and Canada, and the Grenadians in the diaspora are deeply patriotic. So I have no issue. I'm just saying, let us do it within the confines of the law. So don't come to my constituency or a party and wipe off people off the list because you say they're not living in town, they're living in Ghana, and then you're telling people come and register who you know are not ordinary. I'm just saying that is a bit of hypocrisy. But it will also be hypocritical of me if I said I was not in a government where in a party where people come and vote. That's a different thing. Coming and vote is different to coming and register while you're out there. Because if you're registered already, you have a right to vote.
All right.
If you're not registered and you're not resident, that makes you violative of the law.
All right. I mean, I'm just happy for that clarification, because there's always been that conversation been going back and forth for a couple of weeks now in relation to that. So I just wanted to get your view on that in terms of the clarification. But we drew for a break. Let's take it. When we come back, we continue the conversation. Stay with us, folks. To the point. Classic Radio GBN TV. We coming right back.
At 5 p.m. on August 5th, 1944, the schooner Island Queen sailed out of the St. George's Harbor. On board were some of Grenada's brightest and best sons and daughters. What happened afterwards remains a mystery.
Where Island Queen gone?
Heritage Theatre Company presents Lucy's Straw Hat, a full-length drama written and directed by Chris DeRiggs, a moving story about a family caught up in the drama of this great mystery. Meet Mammy Sylvie, a woman with a secret too heavy to keep but too painful to reveal.
I'm asking for forgiveness for not telling you the truth.
Pa John, the war veteran.
Sometimes I sit here feeling so helpless, so crushed.
Hyacinth, always ready to do mischief.
You don't see the woman Uncle Norris married. She face ugly enough to turn milk.
Lucy, beautiful and headstrong.
I had a dream, Mommy, that Hyacinth was there, holding my hand.
Lucy's Straw Hat at Grenada Trade Center on Saturday 13th and Sunday 14th June, and at the Luke Cinema on Saturday 20th and Sunday 21st June. All shows 7 p.m. Advance tickets $60, $75 at the door. Come join us.
Where Island Queen gone?
Country Cold, premier sponsor, in collaboration with Power of Worship Radio 92.5 FM, present a night of worship. A night of worship with 7-time Grammy Award-winning Brooklyn Tabernacle Choir. Brooklyn Tabernacle Choir. Friday, June 12th at the Grenada National Cricket Stadium. Gates open at 5 p.m. Worship starts at 6. Free admission. Experience powerful songs like Fill My Cup. Spirits fall down. And you keep on blessing me. Bring your family. This is more than a concert. It's an encounter with God. Special thanks to our generous sponsors, Modern Photo Studio, Terry's Yacht Services, and Sammy's Ready Mix. A night of worship with Brooklyn Tabernacle Choir. Friday, June 12th. This event hosted by the Ministry of Mental Health, Wellness, and Religious Affairs.
The Ministry of Agriculture White Potato Production Initiative is an OECS sub-regional project aimed at reducing Grenada's reliance on imported white potatoes, which in 2025 had an imported value of over 4.5 million EC dollars. The White Potato Production Initiative is part of the Ministry of Agriculture's food security drive and is being undertaken with the simultaneous cultivation of other crops such as sweet potatoes, pineapples, coconuts, carrots, and other vegetables. Other OECS countries like Dominica and St. Vincent and the Grenadines are already at an advanced stage in white potato production, with Dominica completely cutting the import of white potatoes during the first quarter of 2026. Grenada is now preparing to advance production for better output in 2027. The Ministry of Agriculture, Lands and Forestry, ensuring food and nutrition security for all.
Welcome back to our listeners. Welcome back to our viewers once again. It's To The Point Classic Radio, GBN TV. We also have the Honorable Peter David with us this morning, and of course Mr. Bain, the board representing the DPM on today's edition of To The Point. Gentlemen, welcome back. Well, Peter David, I think I'm going to be pouring a lot of my questions to you this morning.
Did you break at all?
Yeah. The off-air conversation was another thing, like if we didn't break. But of course, I do have some questions I'm going to throw at you shortly. But I want to get Mr. David's perspective on this once again. Now, as a member of Parliament, and you receive that constituency allowance, can you explain to our viewers, and listeners over there, because you always hear that the battle via social media and so forth, those conversations, what are the representative doing with that $10,000 allowance that is actually what is actually for? What kind of things are you use to help people, especially within the tongue of St. George?
It varies. Now, let me start by telling you this. In today's economy, $10,000 is not a lot of money. It sounds a lot. So, for example, in the last 24 hours, I've helped people pay for graduation. I've helped about 2 or 3 people for graduation. I've helped people pay, the officers help people to pay, in some cases, rent that they fall behind for good reason. You help people with medical issues. You help people who may have a problem with a window, so we can't build a house but a little window. I'm known over the years, GT, and I don't think anybody will dispute this, that I've always helped with government money and without government money. In fact, the $10,000 must constitute a small amount of what we help with during the months. But I've done it over the years out of my pocket, and I'm doing it out of my pocket still, because I was brought up to believe that if we have, we should share with others, and I don't think there's anybody who would dispute that is a good virtue to have. So, but in the case of the town of St. George, I can, in fact, if people want, I notice people talking on social media about to show what you're doing. The only reason I won't show it is because it'll be showing the people's names who receive it. And if anybody knows anything about me, if I'm giving you something, I don't have to go and publish it. You don't see me standing up anywhere giving anybody any help for the rent and going and publish it, because I find that politicians like to tell people what they do for people too much. If you're doing it, do it from your heart and do it genuinely trying to solve people's problems. But if people want to see the list, I can redact the names of who we give, but they can go to the parliamentary office. Ask the Parliament of Grenada, yes, not my office. Go to the Parliament and ask them which offices are the ones that have been reported diligently. I have an office manager who will kill me, and actually knows it. He cuts me all the time. Peter, we have to do this right because we have to report. We don't want no corruption around your name.
Can't use it.
If I want somebody come to me there, you can't use this for party work. You can't use the office for this. And somebody come to you and say, Peter, how it is all the years whenever you get accused of corruption? Because I try to do things keeping within the rules. And the rules are that we report every month and we keep a list of what we give. So yes, we help people with a myriad amount of things. Somebody may come in and have a crisis in their home. You know it, actually. You see it even if you're not a parliamentarian, you do it every day.
We all do it.
I mean, and the economy as it is now, my brother GT, it is tough. In fact, when I go to the supermarket, when I go to the pharmacies and see what medications cost, I don't know how some people survive. I, honest to God, I'm not saying that politically, I'm saying I don't know how a woman, I mean, we have people, and I represent many of them in the courts of law, so I can tell you, somebody with 3 children working for $1,000, $1,200 a month, some of them not working at all. How do they survive? And that is why I am deeply concerned about our young people, because our young people now, as we were saying in the break, our young people want the same things that the upper echelons of our society get. They want a phone, they want a computer, they want this, they want that. If they can't get it legally, they tend toward crime. Not because they are criminally inclined naturally, but simply because they are urged to get things. So no, my office, and both my offices, my law office and my parliamentary office, have a tradition of assisting people. In fact, a large percentage of my legal work is pro bono work, because I assist many families too with legal work, because many of them cannot afford to pay fees. And I do it not to boast about it, but I do it because, you know, it's like a doctor. If a doctor sees somebody sick, it would be criminal for that doctor to watch that person die and to say, well, you can't pay for my medical fee. So that's... Sorry for being long-winded about it.
There are some voices in the community that suggesting that, you know, the funds has been used in ways that in a way that people is expected, is not expected for some reason.
Like what?
You know, for instance, what would you say to constituents who may feel that they haven't seen the benefits of the allowance, and how do you respond to those concerns?
Well, it's $10,000. Listen, if I give 10 people $1,000 to pay their graduation, and I give another one $500, I give some $500 to buy a window. If I give 15 people, that's the end of the money. Now, and people will tell you, and I think people, so there'll be some people listening now who know that we try our best to help. Of course, it is not a lot of money. That is why the government has an obligation. I can't help people build a house, because to build a house will cost, I mean, I've received people sending me invoices for $20,000, $30,000. That just won't, I can't do it. I can help them by saying, look, you take 500, you take 1,000, you take 300, 400. It is trying to take, I mean, I'm not Jesus who can take the loaves and feed the multitude. I wish I could. That every month I will take that loaf. You do a pillar. You can't do a house, you do a pillar. You do a pillar. So I try. And like I said, GT, if there's anybody out there who says that Peter is selfish and uses money for his own means, they would know that that is not true. I am not, never have I been inclined to that. So we try to stretch it as much as we can. So if somebody believes that they need something and I haven't dealt with it, just call me, come and sit down and talk. We'll figure it out. There's no malintent on my part. It is just difficult sometimes to manage with a small amount. I'm grateful. Mind you, I am grateful that the government gave us a 10,000, because that was a new thing. I am grateful to this government for doing it. I'm not saying to them, boy, just that. I'm grateful for the 10, but I'm saying that those out there,
10 could only do so much.
The 10 can only have a limit, but then the ministry, so for example, sometimes we have to send people to the ministry. Some people want to get onto the program, what do you call it? The seed program and that kind of thing. In fact, there have some people, I had to argue with my manager the other day, the office manager, to say, listen, the lady said she went to seed, she couldn't get it. So let's give her for a couple of months to at least see her through. Because, you know, you're juggling. But I will not put people's business on the street. So I will not publish the names of
would expect you to. You expect you to do that.
You wouldn't show up with a suitcase of clothes for a fire victim and
No. I will go later and drop it for the
But I want to hear your views on this, sir. How has it been for you being the parliamentary representative for the Tongue of St. George? Not even being part of the official opposition anymore. How has it been for you in terms of the assistance that you give?
Let me put it this way to you. It is difficult. It's always been difficult being a parliamentary rep, and I'm sure it's difficult for many of the other parliamentary reps too. But it's something that I really take pride in doing, because at the end of the day, I come in contact with families who are in a position you're able to help them. I take much pride. You know, I have had people come up to me, and people come up to me all the time and say, Peter, I don't remember why you do this for me. You know, and I say, no, I don't remember, because I didn't do it to take a picture to say you are supposed to help. I do it because I think my father, people know my father's tradition was helping people. But no, it's tough. I think we need to have the parliamentary representatives more integrated into the government process. So, for example, in building of projects, houses, roads, and other infrastructure, I think the parliamentary rep should be consulted. I think what you do is you have somebody who is your point person, the government's point person. Now, they totally sideline the parliamentary rep, and the parliamentary rep is stuck with 10,000 while they have the millions that is sitting in the coffers of the government treasury. So the structure, I think it's a systemic problem. I've said, GT, that we need to find a way to stop this divisiveness so that I'm a parliamentary rep, but I am not in government. Yeah. Therefore, what they're going to be trying to do is to sideline me in order to get their person into government. And that's the nature of our politics, and it's not something new. Yeah. And again, this is because of structural problems. So I think parliamentary reps should be involved in all of the infrastructural and other work within the constituency. But unfortunately, if somebody comes to me, people come to me all the time and say, Peter, I want to get a house. And I have to say to them, well, listen, I have to call the Ministry of Housing. And but I'm an outsider. When somebody at the Ministry of Housing answers me, they say, boy, there's a man in the opposition. If you don't want to lose your work because you feel this Peter dealing. So I am constrained from accessing the things that government gives, and we need to find it. You see,
and that's why you need some level of local government.
Absolutely, I was just about to say that.
And it leads to my question: Would you willing if you get into government? Forbid you get into government. Those structural changes. Would you willing to make those changes where even though someone is in opposition, they have a way of helping to make a difference as if they were in government?
I have proposed this for government after government. We did a study back in between 2008 with Professor McIntosh, particularly to deal with local government in Carriacou, which is constitutional, and we have been violating the constitution for the last maybe 50 years. But we need to put the structure that Professor McIntosh recommended of local government in place, so that the people in the constituencies, including the elected representatives, even if they're not in government, as in my case, and I have a double whammy, I'm not in the official opposition and I'm not in the official government, so it's me in the wind. To find a way that so for example, we have the River Road project, the River Rehabilitation project. I don't know what's happening with it. I mean, they were supposed to be doing the bridges. They have to get the bridges done. The money was allocated years ago. The work was done. Nobody is saying to the MP, neither is the MP being consulted on any of the issues that government has. And a lot of people believe that, well, Peter was elected, but Peter is not part of the government. I don't have access to government resources apart from the 10,000 that I can give a full account for, where every cent goes. If somebody wants to come, I'll redact the names and show them where every cent goes. Everybody knows that I am not the kind of person to take nobody money. In fact, what I'm accused of, in fact, the big criticism the former, well, I won't call names, had of me was that, you know what, boy, if Peter become leader, everybody will get everything, you'll give away everything. I am known not to be selfish. So, my brother, it is difficult. I enjoy it. It gives me immense pleasure to be able to help people get a better life. And, I have a young man waiting now in Central Police Station who was charged with an offense yesterday. His mother called me this morning crying. I'll go help. And I will talk to them. And this is another thing people don't know. The way I talk to these kids as if it's my own kids. I talk to them, I push them myself, and the magistrates, the police, we work to make people's lives better. I think, for me, I'm sorry for going on, because I feel this morning, in fact, I was telling Archie this morning, I figured the big question, and I said that well, how do we fix Grenada? Sorry for going on.
Well, we're due for a break. Let's take it, and we come back. We continue the conversation. Stay with us, folks. We're coming right back.
Grenadians at home and
month of June will come alive. 4 years ago, we made a decision to move our nation forward. Now, we are stronger and more determined than ever before.
Unity is strength. and we getting stronger.
On Sunday, June 21st, the National Democratic Congress invites you to the biggest celebration of progress, hope, and the people-centered leadership at the Monrouge Plainfield for the NDC's 4th anniversary mega rally.
Yellow fever.
Under the powerful theme, 4 years stronger, you, me, us. Thousands will gather in one voice, one heart, and one vision for Grenada's future.
Now we give them yellow, 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 yellow. Yellow fever.
Come hear the leadership shaping tomorrow. The Most Honorable Prime Minister Dickon Mitchell, Honorable Andy Williams, the South Boss, Honorable Ron Redhair, Senator Claudette Joseph, Honorable Philip Telesford, and more. Experience live performances, electrifying energy, powerful messages of transformation, and the unstoppable spirit of the people of Grenada as we celebrate fathers across the nation and the world. Contact your constituency office for transportation. Bring your flags, bring your family, and most importantly, bring your yellow. Sunday, June 21st from 5 p.m. NDC Mega Rally 2026. 4 years stronger. You, me, us.
Things happening.
Life doesn't stand still. It moves. It grows. It asks you to believe in what's next. Your first car. Owning your home. The business you build. The future you choose to invest in. Life moves in steps. When you're ready to take the next one, we're here to help you move forward with banking solutions designed for life. From vehicle financing and mortgages to education savings, credit solutions, and support for your growing business. Republic Bank, ready for life. Every step.
Everyone to GBN's Rock the Box Weekly. These are your smashing hosts, Prince Charlton and Nyara. Over 100,000 beautiful people tuning in today. And that's quite a lot, isn't it, Craig? There's only one place they can help you keep up with music and culture today. Started as the underhorse, as they say. Prince and Nyara on the commentary at 8:30. And now, they're Crave, who have the latest trendy song that make you want to sing along. Food, fashion, culture all in one. Tune in to Rock the Box tonight. And you're going to catch a vibe. Wait, you think this show about to end? Look like they're run it back again. Every Friday they're teaming up. Grenada cannot get enough. And the crowd is just erupt. Hold on, sorry to interrupt you here, Craig, but wait, oh my, what to do on a Friday night? Rock the Box of the nation.
Welcome back to our listeners. Welcome back to our viewers. Of course, time is suddenly creeping up on us this morning. So, Bain, I want to get some questions to you this morning. Being here on the program, I can't let myself do all the conversation talking this morning. You know, being the chairman of the the DPM, you make that bold promise that no cost solar for Grenadian homeowners. In simple terms, can you walk us through how this plan will actually work?
I'm glad you use the word simple because it's really a simple solution. What we are saying is that we have an abundance of sunshine. We don't have a lot of natural resources.
We had all the rain yesterday, right?
That's all right. I think internationally, a couple of years ago, Germany had the highest level of solar penetration. And if you know the type of climate they have in Germany, they don't see the kind of sunshine that we see.
Okay.
Because what solar is generated from is a heat, and not necessarily the sun shining.
So true. Understandable.
Onto the panels, right? So what we are saying, and this is nothing new. I want to make that point because I see people speaking about whose plan it is and who had the plan. This is a iteration of a plan I presented to Glen like somewhere around 2017, 2018. So this is not nothing new.
Okay.
They did not they did not move with it because it was a time when they were at a crossroad between the company, WRB, the parent company, and the government of Grenada.
Okay.
In terms of their license and all of that, and the liberalization of the sector and so on. What we are saying is that Glenlec installs, because the costs of solar, the capital costs, could be a little bit prohibitive for the ordinary homeowner. Glenlec installs, you use what you don't use, because anyone with a solar system would tell you that during the day they probably use about 20% of the power generated. So what you use, the excess goes back to the grid. It goes into Glenlec system. They sell that. They get the revenue for that.
Yes.
So you don't get any revenue. What you get is the usage.
Yes.
That revenue that Glenlec derives from that solar that is harnessed from your system, that is where they recover the costs of installation.
Okay.
And you set a formula where you can measure that return. And once that return is obtained, then you go into another iteration where you earn some of that revenue from the extra power generated. Very simple.
But who could be able to be qualified for that, sir? When I say that, we talk about Grenadian homeowners. Who are they able to benefit from this program? Or any specific criteria needed or so forth for anyone to get these solar panels on there?
Of course. I mean, it's something that we have to look closely at. And one of the things that I want to put on the table is that we are not the technical experts in these areas.
Yes.
We have our expert teams that we look at the vision, we look at the big picture, and we look at what we want to see happen, and then we give it to the expert now to put meat on those bones, and to give it life, right? But it's very simple. What we are saying is that the persons benefiting should be the ones who are greater impacted in terms of their livelihood or their consumer basket for a particular period. So a pensioner, a single mother, the more vulnerable person, but at the same time, their usage must be at a level to make it economically viable.
Okay.
So someone who is using 20 kilowatts for a month
may not be necessarily
need to have that type of investment. But let's look at an average home. An average home in Grenada, I would say a 2-3 bedroom home with all the equipment and so. Nowadays, air conditioning is almost a basic requirement. So that person uses about 500 kilowatts for the month. With a system like this, that person would save about 30% of their usage, which is about $160, $175.
All right.
And that is significant income back into their pockets.
I'm looking at $600, and I'm looking at $600 this month.
So you want to know what else could be installed, right?
All right. So tell me, we hear critics have been talking about this. I have listened to individuals talking about it, and in terms of how the DPM will fund this. And you mentioned in terms of Glenlec being part of the installation and so forth. Critics are saying, where the money going to be coming from in terms of obtaining the solar panels first and foremost. Right. And what's your answer to that for individuals who are having that kind of mindset?
I wonder why that question, because one, the company, so the government would not have any involvement in selecting who.
Okay.
You have the PERC who regulates. Government here is to facilitate. Okay? Financing for climate, renewables, and carbon reduction is the most concessionary type of financing that you can get through the EIB, through the Green Climate Fund, through the Caribbean Development Bank, through the CDB. So you have monies out there for climate adaptation. And we are saying, let us tap into those sources. So government's responsibility here is to help to mobilize those resources for Glenlec, or for the entity that would be responsible for moving the program and for for supervising and administering the program. But we wouldn't want this to go through a government entity, and definitely, it would not be done through a parliamentary office or through an MP's office, as we see several government programs happening right now.
There was always going to be that concern also, because Grenada is increasingly vulnerable, when it comes to climate change and so forth, extreme weather conditions. We're in the hurricane season right now. How this solar initiative, sir, will fit into the DPM's broader vision of energy security and climate resilience?
Exactly, because it's one of the major components. In fact, in 2015, thereabout, it could have been even earlier, but 2014, I was on the Glen board. And let me say this. I have served as the supervisor of customer services at Glen for years. And I have served as a director of Glen for over 10 years. I have also served as a commissioner of the PERC. So these are not new territories that I'm venturing into.
Okay.
This is basically in my realm of operation, things I've been involved in. And in terms of security, in terms of climate security, I don't know if you've been looking at the news. The Strait of Hormuz is open today. It's closed tomorrow. It is open. It is not opened. Oil seems to be there's a bottleneck. There's also the whole question of carbon reduction and damage to the earth. So it fits into our whole energy plan of moving to net zero. I think that is what everybody, all responsible governments, although some are saying that climate change is a hoax, we don't believe in that. So we are saying it is part of the whole carbon reduction initiative to amplify the usage of renewables. And I was making the point that back in 2014 thereabout, Glen had as part of its policy or part of its strategy to have at least 20% renewable penetration, 20% generation of electricity from renewables. By 2022, they were only at 6%.
Okay.
And that was a 2020 benchmarker, 20% by 2020. By 2022, there was 6%.
I'm going to say we, because we Grenadians, we always skeptical when we hear things from political parties and so forth. We've heard big promises before. Of course, every Grenadian who is listening and viewing to this morning may be seeing it, and they probably wonder,
votes.
is this going to be? Could be real? Could this be real? So, what would you say to Grenadians who have that level of skepticism in relation to that?
The people who are skeptical about that, I think governments have earned that skepticism over the years by their action. We heard also the promises. We heard that we're going to cast a net and sargassum would be no more. We have heard all of these things. We're going to buy a plane and travel going to be easier. We've heard all these things. So yes, they have a right to be skeptic about this, but we are saying that this is something that is easy. We are hearing also that the current government has a plan for this, and we are saying we welcome it. If you have a plan, you can speak to us, you can share ideas, and if you want to introduce it. But what we are saying is that this is something that is doable, it is easy, it is not rocket science.
We also, on that issue, because that is an issue that spans across the country, this issue of promises and politicians and skepticism. One of the major issues we are confronting is a sense of by people that it doesn't make a difference what you do. There's a fatigue, there's a cynicism that are setting in all strata of our society, from the top to the bottom of our society. People say, listen, we vote, every time we vote, we hear these promises, nothing happens. And I think that has to do, there's also a structural problem there we need to address. You would notice in a lot of what I'm saying, I think we need to change how we operate in order to change that. So, for example,
systemic
changes. I have said that we need to we spoke earlier about the local government, because local government makes parliamentarians much more accountable to their constituents. In other words, we've spoken about a constituency accountability mechanism where you have to report every 6 months or every 8 months. We will discuss the mechanisms for it, but that you don't elect people and then you go back 5 years after to see whether or not they pass the exam. You have a mechanism in place where the politicians must go back to the constituents and to the people in general to say not only what they've done, but what the people need. You see, because a lot of the times to politicians, and that is why we ask for people's involvement. You go to a mass rally, and the politicians tell you what they're going to do for you. They didn't even ask you if that's what you want. When they say that's what they're going to do for you, they just assume. So we take the people and treat the people as if they're just, the subjects. And so what we need is to that question, how you keep people accountable by setting up mechanisms of accountability. I saw that with the Integrity Commission. The integrity, we talk about corruption for years in public office.
We set a so-called system.
A system. We need to make sure the system works. At least there was a step to set up a system, because there has to be a mechanism that forces you. If we didn't have a law which says drive on the left side of the road, people driving on any side of the road because there's no mechanism to make people accountable for not driving properly. Similarly, when you make promises, we have to have a system that makes you accountable, not every 5 years. In California, there's a law, a recall provision. Midterm, if you have not, what you can have, if half of the population that vote for you believe that you're not fulfilling your mandate, they can recall you. I'm not saying we do that, but I'm saying we have some mechanism to make people accountable.
And one of the things we need to look at with all of this is that whole question of removing the fear. Yeah. Because people sometimes do not want to voice their concerns because of the fear of victimization. So first of all, you have to give them that sort of confidence that we want to hear from you. And we are not thin-skinned that when you say what we don't want to hear.
Absolutely.
Don't tell us the sun is shining when the rain is falling.
But in small societies like ours,
that would be a serious challenge.
I have been in NMP and I've been in NDC. I used to be in NGM too when NGM was around, and I met good people in every party. Yeah. The mass of the people in these parties, the workers in these parties, the community activists, they all are good people for the most part who want the same thing. There's nothing different that NMP people want than what NDC people want. What we need to do is to bring the communities together to decide what kind of society we want to build and to keep the elected officials accountable. You can't just say accountable. You need to do that. So I think for those who are going to say making promises, come be part of the process. Yes. So you enforce them inside.
We're due for a break, of course. This break, of course. But after this break, we'll invite our listeners and viewers to chime in, and I'm sure there will be questions they may have asked in terms of our conversation this morning. Stay with us, folks. We're coming back. We have approximately 10 minutes left on today's program. We'll be right back. Don't touch it out.
Country Cold, premier sponsor, in collaboration with Power of Worship Radio 92.5 FM, present A Night of Worship. A Night of Worship with 7-time Grammy Award-winning Brooklyn Tabernacle Choir. Friday, June 12th at the Grenada National Cricket Stadium. Gates open at 5 p.m. Worship starts at 6. Free admission. Experience powerful songs like Fill My Cup. Spirits fall down. And you keep on blessing me. Bring your family. This is more than a concert. It's an encounter with God. Special thanks to our generous sponsors, Modern Photo Studio, Terry's Yacht Services, and Sammy's Ready Mix. A Night of Worship with Brooklyn Tabernacle Choir. Friday, June 12th. This event hosted by the Ministry of Mental Health, Wellness, and Religious Affairs.
This Emancipation Weekend, Freedom Takes the Sea. The Media Workers Association of Grenada invites you aboard Unscripted, the Freedom Edition. Friday, July 31st. Step into an unforgettable night of music, vibes, culture, and connection aboard the ultimate summer cruise experience. Meet your favorite media personalities, party under the stars, and celebrate freedom the unscripted way aboard the Ecstasy. Boarding is at 7 p.m., sailing at 8 p.m. Dress code Freedom Chic. Bold Bold, stylish, unapologetically you. Tickets are limited and going fast. Get your tickets online at GoToFet and at recognized ticket outlets. Unscripted, the Freedom Edition, because the best stories are the ones you never planned.
Saturday, 20th June, National Cricket Stadium. Gates open 6 p.m. Showtime 8 p.m.
And what's so special?
Holland, international dancehall superstar Masika.
Money nothing no me girl me a provider. Buy your deal and buy the designer.
Masika.
Welcome back, listeners. Welcome back, viewers. As promised, of course, we will invite our listeners and viewers to, of course, chime in this segment, of course, in terms of asking a question or two. But before we get to the callers, I haven't asked you, gentlemen, this question. You know, there's been that conversation that's been circulating all week. It's been a couple of days now, but it may have intensified or will be this week in terms of the importation of the horses and so forth to Grenada. We heard what happened. What's your take on this whole situation in terms of how it was handled?
So let me first say that I am no veterinary or health expert, so I do not want to venture into that realm of the conversation.
Yeah.
My concern here is that you have a young entrepreneur, small business owner, who saw a niche, who saw the need to tap into that niche to expand, to grow his business. And my question is, while there has been a lot of conversation around the importation license and the permits and the permissions, my question is, where is the small business support structure?
Okay.
Who walked him through the process and who guided him and who held his hands to ensure that he did the right thing? So I'm not looking at it whether he imported horses or he imported chickens or pigeons or he imported a plane or whatever it is. Who holds the hand of that young entrepreneur who wants to grow his business and guide him through the process? And I believe that is where the system fell short.
Okay, great.
I want to agree with you on that because, you know, the more I meet young people is the more I see the potential of young people. And young people are looking for ventures, many of them, looking for ventures. And when they go down a road like this, and I know the young man very well, when you go down a road like that and you invest, and he works extremely hard at what he's doing. When you go down that road, you invest your monies, you invest your time, and then you try to
meet a roadblock, you meet a solid wall in front of you.
And then rather than help get through it, you just in a sense you just
kill the
Archie
dream.
said, okay, if you had to do it, then there's the question of how do you compensate, or do you help him back on his feet? What do you do? In other words, not just do it and say, well, you messed up. We all sometimes make mistakes. I'm not sure about the details, so as Archie said, I can't talk about the veterinary side and the other side. Just the approach to dealing with young entrepreneurs.
How do you hold their hand?
How you hold their hand, how you walk them through the process. I want to agree that Archie 100%.
I have led him through processes. The same young man.
Yeah.
If you realize he has some of the things that he has been doing, I have helped him to get grant financing for it. And it wasn't my responsibility. I was responsible for a loan program.
Yes.
When he showed up wanting to receive a grant, I walked him through the process and took him to that point where he was able to get that grant.
Oh, great.
And to me, that these are the services
that's a major issue.
That's what you need.
All right, we do have some callers online. Let's take our first caller. Say good morning. Caller, you're live. Good morning, and I beg of you to be brief, please, due for time reasons.
Good morning to you, GFT, and to your followers, and to my good friends, Brother Peter and Brother Archie. Well, as the saying goes, we're approaching the silly season. Not the carnival season, but the silly season, where you hear all kinds of crazy things from people you least expect to get them from. As a matter of fact, as one person said before, politicians, they campaign in poetry, but they govern in prose. I don't know if you get a chance to govern and how you're going to do that. But a couple things, 3 things quickly. I heard you passionately, Mr. David, my friend, speaking about the influx of foreign workers and how our domestic workers are not getting the jobs. Actually, you're a businessman. Tell me how that makes sense. You have a business, you have a ready supply of local workers for your business, yet you would pay an airline ticket, you would provide housing, you would purchase a work permit for a foreign worker when you have people here who can do it. Now, how does that make business sense? No, I want one of you to tell me that before you leave. How does that make business sense?
I would want to respond to that, to say that I'm not sure.
That's only my first question.
Okay.
The second question is, on the matter of the $10,000 constituency funds, I beg to recommend, as Peter said, he gives money all the time to people. These are your funds. They know it's coming from you. Now, I will recommend that the funds, the $10,000, should not be given as personal donations, because it makes it difficult. It blurs the line between what you're giving to somebody personally and when you're using the state resources to help someone. I would recommend that those funds be used for more community-based initiatives that the entire community can benefit from. Instead of dishing out $4,000 to that person, $100 to that person, I don't think that's a decent way to use those funds. And the last thing to you, my brother Peter, having been a parliamentarian of the town of St. George for the last, 20 years, I'm not sure how long it has been. Have you been chronicling the number of projects, infrastructure projects, that have been happening over the last 4 years in your constituency? Mainly infrastructure projects. Have you been taking a list of them? And how many of them you are sorry that you did not do in your 5 terms as a representative? Answer those 3 questions for me, please.
Thank you, caller. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Let me respond to the first question, and I will respond to it this way. I remember years ago in college, we had an accounting exam, and a student presented a paper, and he got 5% because, according to the lecturer, the answers looked neat. The work was well done, but it had nothing to do with the question that she asked. So that question about foreign workers and plane and work permits, I don't know which program the caller was listening to, but this didn't come from this program here this morning, or any program that I can remember has been on. Okay. So you get 5% for asking a question that seemed to be a legitimate question, but not on a topic that we discussed here this morning.
Yeah, she's correct. I don't recall mentioning anything this morning about workers covered in. Maybe you're taking notes on another program. With respect to the constituency allowance, what project? I don't know what projects we do with $10,000 to the entire community, but you certainly are not aware of the kinds of problems people face with medical care, with education, and so on. For you to tell me I should not give individuals any assistance is really insensitive to the concerns of individuals. It's $10,000. It has to spread. I can't build a community center with it. I can't build a school with it. I can't build a house with it for the entire community. So I have to spread it out so that it impacts people. Are you suggesting that people's medical condition is not something that affects the community? Are you suggesting that I shouldn't help a young man graduate from school? So no, I disagree with you on the issue of building a community project, unless I must accumulate it for 5 years and then use all the money at the end of 5 years to build something. But no, people need help today, and that is what I do. And I don't give them cash. So, for example, we go and cash will come from my pocket, but we send it to the if we want to buy a window for somebody for a house, we send it to the hardware store, the check. We send the hardware check, the money to the pharmacy to buy for medical care. That is what it's done for. With respect to the other question about projects, I don't know if you've been following the project I did. I can list them for you because people keep talking about what you've done. I did with Venezuela money, did the Angel Harp span house, I did Dimension span house, we did the pavilion in Tantine, we did the Calata Road in Dabo, we did the community center in River Road, we did roads in River Road steps. We've done a lot. Listen, my dear brother. Every government and every MP has done. You're in the zone right now, so yes, I've been observing the projects, and yes, some projects are being done. But do not, it's like some people in NDC say NMP never did anything. That is the kind of politics that creates division. All governments and all members of parliament have done something, some more than others. Yes, I'm observing, but you know what? I'll send you a list of the projects I did. I don't want to waste the people's time. I'll send you a list of about, the other night I sat down and thought about it. It came to about 40 or 50. But I'll send them to you, Jude. I have your number. All right. I'll send them to you so you can see what I did, and you send me the list of the ones that's being done right now.
And I hope my brother Jude is advocating that for all parliamentary offices and not just for the parliamentary office of the Town of St. George.
All right. We do have another caller. Caller, you're live via WhatsApp, and I beg of you to be very brief, please. Go right ahead. Caller, for some reason you're very muffled. I'm not sure if your surroundings, but we're not getting a clear tone from you.
I don't know.
Go right ahead, please. Go right ahead, please.
Okay, Peter David. All right. I'm just going to do a follow-up from Mr. Bonner. You say like the change $1,000 is not enough. But Peter David, you was given a van also. And some of the project that you said that you did, the van could have been very helpful. So why did you refuse the van? And the last time he was on the program, I asked you the question concerning Maxine Board. You told me your hand was packed. So my question to you, who do you represent? Representing the people? Or are you representing a party? Because you said that you could do nothing. And if you could not get what you want done, why didn't you resign at the time? And the last question too, last night the Prime Minister was in St. Patrick's in the Congress, and the Prime Minister mentioned about the manifesto will be written by the people instead of the party. You always talk about the people. So I want to know that if you will take a page from the Prime Minister instead of your party writing the manifesto, that you always involve the people, will the people be involved in your manifesto?
Thank you, caller. Thank you very much.
I don't know. Some people seem to be asking questions this morning with the answers. And my dear brother, the van is being used by my constituents. It's parked in the office by River Road. Anytime you got a chance, drive down River Road. It's just opposite Steve's Guard. You see the MP's van, the van that we received from the government, from the parliament, parked in front of my office. So I don't know where you get the information from, but check your sources. I do have the van, and we do use it, and I use it with respect to the work being done for the people, never for myself. I don't go home with it. It's parked in the office all the time. Go there after 4 every evening. It's parked right there, unless we need to use it for some people's work. I think Mr. Bain will answer the last question.
I want to respond to the question on the manifesto to say that is why we have been having in my yard. We have been going around. We have been getting the views of the people. We have been getting the challenges and the solutions, and that is what would build our manifesto. So I'm happy to hear that the Prime Minister has taken a page from our book.
All right. We do have another caller. Caller, your live. Go right ahead, please. Right the direct line.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Go right ahead, please.
Good morning, my brother, my family, my everything, my Kayanach people. Peter David. The Honorable Peter David. Hello?
Yes. Caller, go right ahead, please. And we strap for time, so please be brief.
Yes. Everything you said this morning about giving people things and then taking up pictures and putting it up on the papers, you are right. You are not lying. You could give me my flowers and say that when you were fixing Angelas, when you got the Venezuelan to fix the panhouse, I was a part of it. You know that. The morning when you tell me you go be in canteen, I come and I remind you that don't forget to include the panel. So when a lot of them talking, they can't talk like me, even though some of them with you, I could say I'm a fond of NDC. and I say anything, but nobody can tell me don't support you. You and Bain is two of the most honest man in that party, what I know of. You understand? And I don't say that for no pong and sugar. Peter, you've been handling me since I've been a youth. So the only thing I could say about you is good. The amount of people think, and nobody can call your name in any dishonesty. I could tell you that. You understand? And I could tell the general, but there's so much thing more I want to talk about.
Yeah, but time doesn't permit. So thank you, caller. Thank you so much.
Next time we're going to talk about. But no, you're absolutely right, my friend Nigel. I called you Nigel this morning because I remember that morning when the Venezuelans came and we were looking for projects, and I went to look at the Tantine Pavilion, the building, and there came Joe Manu. They were coming, and there he came running up from the playing field and said, "Peter, why don't you convince them to put some of the money to fix Angel Harp Span House?" And I did just that, and we were able to get the money to do the first phase of the pan house. So yes, you're absolutely right. And those are some of the projects: the pan house, the playground in Tantine, like I said, Dimensions. When Dimensions place burned down, I organized for Dimensions to be there. So there's a lot we could talk about. But yes, thank you for your support. You have been, and I must say this to my good friend Nigel, that you are a pillar of the community, especially young people, with sports and all kinds of activities on the Carnage, but not only the Carnage, in the town, but throughout the country too. And I wish you well, my dear brother. Well, we sit and talk about that, but you're absolutely correct. You are a man who you have to get your flowers now, and you'll be getting a lot of flowers because you are a pillar of the community.
And because of time constraint, we will entertain one more caller, and I'm going to take a wrap for today's program. Sure. Caller, you're live. Good morning. Welcome.
Thank you very much for the opportunity, Mr. Telesford, to bowl the last over. Watch out, Pete, coming. Mr. Telesford, so many interesting things came. Good morning to Mr. David and Mr. Bain.
Good morning.
So many interesting things came out there this morning. But one of the things that struck me most of all is when Mr. David, at exactly 10:33 this morning, when you ended the conversation relative to Mr. David being a member of parliament and quote-unquote considered to be an outsider. Elected by this constituency, not a member of the sovereign administration, nor a member of the quote-unquote official, His Majesty's official opposition. But I repeat, a member of parliament, and he's left out. But Mr. David identified, and he did recognize there was a problem. So, just at the end, his last 5 words were rhetorical, I suppose, because he wasn't seeking an answer per se, but he was making a powerful statement. Quote, how do we fix that? Do you remember that, Mr. David? I focus on the words and I put them in context. Now, let us answer it because I'm an outsider also. The fact is that the constitutional architecture of this country permits the system to operate just as it is and has been doing since we were an associate state of a colony more fully open, governed by administrators from the United Kingdom through to the status of associate state, through to the status so-called independent, because we continue to be a parliamentary, you call it again, a monarchic, anyway, governed by a king. That is why, Mr. David. So everything from back there just has moved forward into as it is today. So that just as they treated people in the years past, they continue to treat people like you elected, but outside, left out. And it begs the question, do we wish to continue this way, Mr. David, or are you prepared to proclaim once and for all after study within your political organization that the time has come in this year country to change the current political architecture so that those elected by the people shall do the job that they've been elected to do as legislators to make the laws of the country, and that those who have been hired as executives with total separation of powers be used to manage the daily affairs of the country, so that $10,000 have to be given. But the ministries will do the work, because in the system, correct democratic system, ministries offer the services to the people. You elect parliamentarians to make laws. Legislators, tell Tell us, Mr. David, how far are you prepared to go to ask the people in the next election cycle if they wish to continue living under an imperial order in council of the Queen's most excellent majesty, or if they wish to write their own constitution so that the people collectively in consensus as much as possible can make the decisions for the future of this here country, sir. I trust that my question is understood, and I wish you all a very good day.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much.
My brother John, I want to commend you also for being consistent in your calls for constitutional reform. We know what happened the last time constitutional reform was suggested, the last two times actually. Became quite a divisive topic. It became an issue of the tribes. I have always said that a trick was done on us. They gave us a divisive system, a monarchical system, as you said, and they tell us we have to have a 2/3 majority of the people in order to change it. So it's divisive, splitting the people down the middle 50-50, and then to change it, you have to move away from the 50-50, which seems to be proving quite difficult. And I don't want to say impossible, because I have faith in the wisdom of the people if we can find a way to work together. Yes, I agree with you fully, my dear brother. There's a lot in the Constitution. It needs to be overhauled. In fact, 50 years, more than 50 years, 52 years of a Constitution without change is a sign that we have not evolved, we have not developed. And I hope that we can find a way. And I've said, when I was in government, not in government, when I was in one of the two parties, I said to the other party that I hope we can find a way to come together and to agree on the need for constitutional change. Simple things like the Privy Council, simple things like becoming a republic, things that we need to discuss with the people. I don't want to say to the people what I want. You have advocated adequately on what you think is necessary, but we need to make some changes which would include local government, which would include structures, as you said, to have the legislature separated from the, you're suggesting, from the executive more deeply. So I agree with you, my brother John, and I said to the people, we need to find a way to work together to fix this country, because it has become clear to me and to many that we need some fixing in order to develop. We have not developed as rapidly and as deeply, and we have done no transformation, as far as I am concerned, that makes me comfortable that Grenada is achieving its potential. Grenada has a ton of potential. Our people, when they work together, can move mountains. The problem is we are not working together. We are just fighting each other. And I dare say that another fight is about to break out. And as one caller said, the silly season is about to start, and the cussing is going to start, and Grenada is going to be right where it started, because we will not be talking about any real change. We will simply be talking about how to get in power and how to stay in power, but not how do we transform and develop this country. Let's have that conversation. And what you're saying about constitutional reform, it is an essential part of the transformation and development of this country.
Gentlemen, I want to thank you once again for appearing on the program this morning. It's always a pleasure to, of course, have you on, and certainly hope we can do it again. You did mention that your last. I hope it's not.
No, it's a pleasure for me to be here. Always a pleasure, my brother GT. Your questions are very profound, and it as you notice, it excites a whole lot of conversation. So I guess I have to come back.
It's usually the fastest 60 minutes.
Yes, it is. So thank you once again, and best wishes for the rest of the day.
Thank you.
Hey, folks, that's where we take a wrap for today's edition of To The Point. Thank you all who contributed towards today's program. Have a great weekend.